Hey guys, this is Karthikeya Kantwal from Apex FinServe, and we'll be discussing the same round of things that we do every day, 5 trades from the equity segment for tomorrow's session, along with the index outlook on Nifty and Banknifty. But before we begin, I'd like to discuss what the outcome was for the trades that we had yesterday. So, two of the 5 were triggered, Just Dial and PEL, out of which Just Dial gave the target and PEL gave a stop loss hit. But apart from that, Bank Nifty gave an outstanding entry point exactly at the level that we had discussed. We had assumed an aggressive entry would be close to 22050 or 22,000. Bank Nifty gave a pinpoint entry at 22050 and gave a swift up move of close to 500 points, out of which I personally managed to catch around 450 points. So it was a good trading session for me personally. I hope it was the same for you guys as well. So let's begin with today's discussion. Starting with the first script that we have, SR Transfin has broken out of this range recently, freshly today in fact, and we expect the formation of fresh higher high and higher lows to continue. So the idea now is to simply buy at every pullback. So the trade for tomorrow that we have planned is to enter a long position at 710 with the stop loss going at 700 and the targets being ideal 1% as usual. Going on to the second trade that we have, it's Apollo Hospitals. Now Apollo Hospitals, as we discussed yesterday, it is still into the formation of higher high, higher lows, and it is still making highs. So the idea now is to enter a long position at another pullback, roughly 1400. I think it should make a deep correction, slightly deep, roughly 50% of this swing leg. 1400 also happens to be a psychological number, so that might be of some significance. So that's the plan for tomorrow, entering a long position at 1400 with the stop loss going at 1385, targets being 1% as usual. The next one on the list that we have is Just Dial. Now Just Dial is formation of lower low, lower highs, as we discussed. The same thing was carried on today as well. So we expect a pullback. The fall that we had was pretty large, so we expect a decent sized pullback as well. So the idea on Just Dial is to enter a short position at 383 and the stop loss going at 387 with the targets being 1% as usual. Moving on to the next script that we have is PEL, Piramal Enterprises. Now Piramal Enterprises, I have been telling you guys constantly since a couple of days that it has been forming higher high and higher lows. However, now as is clearly visible, the strength that was visible in the distance between these swing highs, that is now tapering off. We have a lot larger wicks near the swings, signifying that the buyers are not really able to push the prices any further. Now the idea is that if it breaks this closest swing low, then you can take a short position or a sell position under that. So our bias is to short it under 1410 with the stop loss being at 1425 to 1427. Now this is a trade where I would advise you guys to use the SLM order type instead of the normal bracket order type that we are generally used to. Now with IndusInd Bank, I told you guys it has been forming higher and higher lows. Now there is this significant resistance that it has breached today. Now the ideal entry point for me would be to enter a long position, but once this resistance has seen a complete role reversal, once it starts acting at support. So the idea for tomorrow on IndusInd Bank is to enter a long position at 510 with the stop loss going at 504. The ideal targets being 1% as usual. Moving on to the indices, Nifty and Bank Nifty. Starting with Nifty, we have the same thing being repeated. You need to be a bit skeptical while initiating new longs in Nifty because you do not exactly have a resistance level that is close by, a recent resistance level. You do have levels, but they are very old levels, a couple of months old. You don't have any recent levels that you can take as a reference point of where to book or exit your positions. Now Nifty has been rejected from 10,800, so that seems to be the resistance. I can't call it as a supply zone because my conditions are not being met. However, if you declare it as a resistance, that is a safe approach. The idea would be to enter longs at pullbacks. I personally would prefer to go long somewhere near the confluence between these zones or the Fibonacci levels. Now we will also be taking the reference of option chain. Now when we go to the option chain for Nifty, now Nifty we have immediate available resistance at 10,900 with 227, 10,900 with 109,800 open contracts and 2 million total standing open interest. Now we also could have considered 10,800 to be the immediate resistance, but there is a roughly 10% of calls that have been booked, or there's roughly 10% call unwinding, you can say. So 10% of the writers have moved out. Depending on the market opening tomorrow, more of the writers can cover their positions. So that is the reason why I'm not considering that, and instead of it I'm considering 10,900, where the standing open interest is significant, plus there has been roughly 5% of added open interest as well. So when it comes to the significant resistance, we have 11,000 with 251 added open interest. When we come at the support side of things, we have 10,700 with 332,000 added open interest, and 10,600 with 218,000 added open interest. Now when we try to take a reference of it with the charts, we come to the same conclusion that an ideal long would be, if you are an aggressive trader, then 10,700 you might as well take a long position there. However, if you are a conservative trader, if you want to be a bit more sensible with your funds, then I would prefer you to wait it out and take a long position near 10,600, 10,650. Moving on to the next, Banknifty. Now Banknifty, we had marked the exact zones 22050 at this point yesterday, and we had a pretty good long entry exactly from that level. Excuse me. Now for today's session, Bank Nifty has formed fresh higher highs and higher lows, so I would personally prefer to take entries somewhere close to 22,300, or if the opening is slow or bearish in nature, somewhere I would initiate a long position near 22,100. When we look at the option chain for Bank Nifty, we have immediate resistance at 22,700, somewhere close by, which has acted slightly from where it could not cross, with 50,000 added open interest, and important resistance at 23,000 with total standing open interest of 800,000 contracts. For the support side of things, we have 22,500 with 169,000 added open contracts, and the important support being 22,000 with 418,000 added open interest. Now, as I said, personally I would take a long position in Bank Nifty at either of the two zones, depending on where there are signs of strength, because in indices you can't really prefix a level for entries. You have your probable zones for entries, but I would personally not just punch in an order in the opening. I would wait for confirmation at least of a 15 minutes or 5 minutes candle to decide whether I should or not take an entry. This is all that we had for tonight, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying the content, and I hope you guys are actually making use of all the discussions that we have been having. If you have any suggestions, if you have any feedback, feel free to mention all of it in the comments below. We check out all the comments. If you have any doubts regarding the analysis, feel free to comment and ask there as well. And if you want the charts, you can always check out the Telegram channel @ApexFinServe. The charts and the option chain analysis is uploaded every single morning. It is the same one that we are discussing, but if you want it to keep it with you in live markets, you can check the Telegram channel for that as well. That's it, guys. I hope you have a good green trading session tomorrow as well. Have a good night. Thank you so much for watching. Oh yeah, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click that bell notification icon as well.